Hello, and welcome to Jazz Tonight. I'm Michael Jacobi, executive producer of Jazz on the Plaz, and host of Raising the Standards on KSCO Radio in Santa Cruz. This is the halfway point of our summer homage to the great Ella Fitzgerald, and what has been becoming quite the regular case. Mr. Tony Lindsay is joining us.
And I'm totally digging it.
Yeah, I am delighted that you're here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
you're becoming the house band, is what you're
But
becoming.
it's really really feels good to be wanted.
Well, Tony Lindsay is here with the Soul Soldiers, which is just a terrific. I'm not going to say backup band because it's interwoven.
Yeah.
You guys are all good.
We mix it up.
Talk about how this this group got
The
together.
unit. Well, for the longest time, I was on the road with Santana, of course, for 25 years, and I always wanted to do something like this with friends that I have here in the Bay Area that are great musicians. And when Carlos decided to make a change in his band, and it freed my time up a little bit more, I'm busy like crazy now, but I've managed to keep this group together. And I called all my friends up and said, hey, you know what? I think this is a good time for me to try to do this, and it's been really successful since it started.
It's reminiscent of the reviews from the 50s. I know Sam and Dave had a review, BB had a review,
Exactly.
and you bring a bunch of guys with you that would I guess it was the precursor to the big acts like Earth, Wind and Fire and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is the type of music that we do, there's a lot of bands out here that they do a lot of top 40 stuff and they do a lot of R&B things. But we go back and grab those songs, the R&B songs that, that folks don't hear anymore, man. I mean, when I was growing up as a kid and hearing Marvin Gaye's Stubborn Kind of Fella and Nancy Wilson, How Glad I Am and all that, nobody does that kind of stuff.
No, and we have a very good mutual friend who's going to be joining us later, Jazz Chris Kane.
Oh yeah.
Who is a monster.
He's amazing.
And he's in. We're getting back to the review. He's in a group that the Ray Charles Project that you do.
Yeah, we do that too. Matter of fact, we haven't been down here in a long time.
Yeah, I know.
What's
What do you
up
mean
with
you
that?
haven't been down here long?
I'm
Do you
talking
hear
about the
last-
Ray Charles
Oh,
Project.
Ray Charles. I can only bring you in once a year for everything.
Yeah.
Also, while I'm thinking about it, you got the Warrior shoes.
Oh,
You
yeah.
got the World Champion
Oh,
Warriors.
yeah. It is.
I have to tell you, my daughter is an adamant Lakers fan, and she hates LeBron. Well, that changed last week.
Yes, it did. I bet you it
Well,
changed
maybe he's not so bad.
It changed immediately. But you know what? They're still gonna have to contend with it.
Oh, sure.
The Warriors play the game like it's supposed to be played.
And they start the game the way it's supposed to be started.
Yeah.
You did the national anthem there.
That's
didn't you,
right.
for
Every
one of
time I sing, they win.
Is that right?
Every
That's
time.
pretty easy with the Warriors.
It's the same. It's the same with the Sharks.
Well, where are you during the playoffs?
Well,
Well, we need you.
they've called me. Actually, the playoff game that I did sing at, they won. But then I was out of town for the rest of it. So, yeah, I had a choice of the Sharks or Europe.
All right, yeah.
I think I'm going to Europe.
Now, originally, you're from Kingston, New York,
Kingston, New York, right next to Woodstock.
but you left when you were.
25.
25?
Actually, I left Kingston long before
Were
that.
you
'cause I
there
went to-
when Woodstock happened?
Yes, I was.
you go?
I was a little kid though. Yeah, I didn't.
Not that little.
Yes, I was. I was pretty young.
What year was it? 68.
Yeah, something like that. I was born in '54.
Well, I was born in 52, and I wasn't much of a little kid in 68. But
You know, I wasn't into that type of music. You know, I was listening to the Temptations, and Smokey Robinson, and the Four Tops.
you weren't a
and
Hendrix fan?
I
Did you get
I
to be
didn't-
a Hendrix
oh,
fan?
heck yeah! You kidding?
that's what happens to you, I think.
Oh yeah, when you start growing up and really seeing, you know, and it was weird because when I got into my early teens, the band that I was playing with, we started doing Santana stuff back then, and I didn't even realize that which direction that was headed. But
You know, it's interesting is and rock and roll's like that. There's a certain people that, by and large, you don't start off appreciating.
Exactly.
And then, like Hendrix comes to mind. Like in jazz, Anita O'Day is that people, they may be jazz fans and the young jazz, they just don't. Yeah, and then one day they discover her.
Yeah.
And it's really or Betty Carter.
well,
I mean,
it's a maturity thing, you know.
Yeah.
You know, when we it's just like the music that the young kids are listening to here today, man. It's like I can't. The weird thing is, and I tell kids all the time, is back in the 60s, 70s, and all that, as soon as a song came on, you knew who the artist was.
Yeah, that's
They
good.
all had their handbrake. Now, all of them sound the same to me. Yeah. It's weird.
Well, that's interesting because we were talking off the air about the fact that you and I, in many ways, grew up together in this area because I used to run a radio station called KCAT in the old mill, which was in Mountain View, which was the first Triple Z jazz station. And you made a very nice point about how radio was different.
It was completely different, man. You know, you guys, we could get even back then, not only KPEN, but even the KBLX, which is still here now. They would even play our stuff. Yeah. But now it's gotten to where, you know, you have to have big money to get, and you might get a couple spins on the radio.
Well, and you were with Danny Hall in those days. And oddly, I was just reminded, as a matter of fact, I don't know, I was watching the World Cup or something, and I have this wall of fame. It's me and
Am I on there?
Me in different pictures. But
I'm not on
there's
your
a
wall
poster. Well, you are in a way because there's a poster from the very first Jazz on the Plaza. And my friend Kenny Rankin opened it.
Kenny Rankin.
For, may he rest in peace. And I think there were only 6 acts that year. Giacomo Gates. Danny Hall was here with you, Clifford Coulter.
Ronnie Beck. Did Bob Bain play on there too?
He may have.
I think I think we got a lot of the old.
Kim Nally was here that year.
Kim Nally. I haven't seen her in a long time either.
Yeah. But
Kenny Rankin was a good friend of yours, huh?
Yeah, we used to play a lot of golf together.
Man, that guy, his voice was like butter.
I used to call him the American Troubadour, but a real pain in the
butt.
I used to tell him, I said, you make Chuck Berry look like he's easy to deal with. I mean, Rankin was tough. You're right. In the old days in radio, by and large, I'm not going to get off on a tangent, has become so beige. I mean, God forbid if anybody have a personality. And now it's just, you don't know who's singing. You don't know what you're listening to.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
There's nobody has their own handprint anymore. And that's, you know, people say a lot of things about, you know, different musicians, you know, because I hear a lot of people, oh, Carlos Santana, he's not that great of a player. But when he touches a note on their guitar, you know that sound. You know it's him immediately.
Yeah, absolutely.
B.B. King's the same way. You know, all those guys, man, that's it. Chris Kane,
as we talked about earlier, will be here later this year. One of the great, or as I wrote an article on him, that quoting Mose Allison, "The day the white boy stole the blues." But he's such a wonderful player.
I just had him, because I'm just finishing my new CD that's going to be out soon. All the tracking is done. So Chris, he left town this past Sunday to go on tour until the end of the month. And I just got back home, and I'm like, you know what? I got to get him on this track. Let me call him. So I call him, and his girlfriend says, oh, yeah, well, we're off tonight, and we're off tomorrow, but Sunday he's leaving. So I called a couple studios around. I said, hey, man, I need your studio tonight. I said, I would need to get you. Man, they said, how much time you need? I said, oh, maybe about an hour, 45 minutes. That's it. Yeah. We get in there. What I love about this guy, he brings in his little amplifier, puts it down, plugs it in. They put a microphone on it. He didn't even hear the song yet. I said, okay, play the song for him. He listened once, played it again. He was fooling around. He said, okay, let's go. 3 takes. We were done.
When I had him on Jazz Tonight, when he was here, I guess, 5-6 years ago, something, right, guys? And he shows up, and it was the first time I'd met him. He shows up in overalls with a Coors Light in each pocket.
That's right, he used to wear those all the time.
Yeah, and he said to me, I was a big fan of yours at KPEN. And I went, that's it.
Yeah, man.
You come whenever you want. But,
back then it was the Chris Kane Band.
Yeah.
The group, the ensemble. There were a lot of groups back in.
We're going to talk about some of those groups. We're with Tony Lindsay, who's here tonight. For those of you watching it, who was here whenever this airs, and you hopefully didn't miss it, because it's going to be a heck of a show. A big thank you to the folks at the Pruneyard Cinemas, the Cedar Room. It's South Bay's only dine-in theater. Marvelous facility. We'll take a moment to tell you a little more about it and be right back to Jazz Tonight.
Hello, and welcome to Pruneyard Cinemas, Silicon Valley's most unique movie-going experience, and the South Bay's only service-to-your-seat luxury theater. Since this concept is probably new to many of you, let me take a moment to help you make the most of your visit. At the Pruneyard, the show starts long before the film begins. From our media wall in our lobby, keeping you up to date on happenings here at the theater, to our concessions area, which is, well, pretty special. Oh, you had dinner and cocktails in mind? Well, you came to the right place. Our chef-driven kitchen and theater room offers seasonal bites which pair perfectly with our craft cocktails, draft beers, and local wines, and are all available at the bar and at your seat. It's really quite simple. If you'd like something from concession, something from the kitchen, or from the bar, just press the call button to your right, and one of our servers will be with you in no time. So that's it, just place your order. Thank you. They will be back with your check long before that critical scene in the movie. Our goal is to not disrupt you or your neighbor's experience. So just put up your feet and enjoy the show.
Welcome back to Jazz Tonight. I'm with Tony Lindsay, who's in town for Jazz on the Plaza with the Soul Soldiers.
Yeah.
Best live show you ever saw? Any musical genre?
Man, there's quite a few of them.
Okay.
Stevie Wonder, Neil Diamond, believe it or not.
Oh, I believe that. Yeah.
You know, with Neil Diamond, man, I'll tell you, we played it was in New Zealand. Neil Diamond played the night before we did. So the promoter says, hey, man, Neil Diamond's in town. He's playing a show tonight. Anybody want to go? So it was just me and one other guy. Oh, yeah, are you kidding me? I definitely want to go. All the other guys, Neil Diamond? I went, are you kidding? We get there, this place, they probably held close to 50,000 people in there. The place was packed.
Yeah.
Gray-haired people, silver-haired people, blue hair. I mean, packed with them. But they knew every single word to every one of his songs. And when he did I'm a Believer, he did it first for the audience in front. He counted it off again and did it for the audience on this side. He went to the other side of the stage, counted the song off again, and counted for that audience. He did the song, and then he did it for the ones in the back, and they went nuts every time.
And the two brothers at the Auckland Arena were going, Sweet Caroline, right?
All that.
the
The next night we played there, they had to cut off half of the arena.
Yeah.
You know, but he feels, and he was leaving there to go to South Africa. He sold out 1 week of a football stadium down in South Africa.
Speaking of South Africa, not to give any other venues a lot of publicity, but Rodriguez is good. Did you ever see Looking for Sugarman?
No.
Looking for Sugarman is one of the great documentaries. It's about a guy named Rodriguez who was a big hit in South Africa.
Really?
But he didn't know you got to rent it. He didn't know his music was popular.
Wait a minute,
And there
I
was
think
a
I
rumor,
heard about this
Yeah,
guy.
there was a rumor that he committed suicide, and then they find him alive working
heard
construction.
about that guy.
Remarkable story. And he's playing somewhere in August, I think, around here. But
I did hear
yeah,
about that.
if it's Looking for Sugarman, if you ever get a chance.
But yeah, those those shows. I mean, there's so many of them.
Have you played South Africa?
Yes, we did Johannesburg and what's the other one?
Cape Town?
Cape Town.
Yeah. Did you like it?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I was a little surprised because I thought after Nelson Mandela had been there and been the president, I thought it was going to be a little bit
A
different.
little looser.
But it was still, there's still a little tension over there.
Oddly enough, it's as we record this, today is Nelson
Yes, it
Mandela's
is.
100th birthday.
Isn't that a trip?
Tonight, for the show, you're doing as a favor to me, and I'm sure you're delighted to do it as well. There's a Sam Cooke tune that was on the flip side of Shake. Did you know that?
Really?
Yeah.
Shake.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
baby,
it's a
do it.
tune that he wrote after his band had been refused entrance into a whites-only hotel or motel in Louisiana.
Interesting.
Tune as a change is going to come. Tell me about the tune. Tell me about singing it.
Well, that song, man, I'll tell you, it's every time I do that, the room gets quiet. Then between that one and Donny Hathaway's "Someday We'll All Be Free,"
Yeah.
those two songs, when I do those, but change is going to come.
Yeah.
And you know what? Right now, here in this country, we need a song.
Well,
like that.
I'll tell you what, this celebrating the 50th anniversary of the summer, I don't think celebrating is the right word, but commemorating the 50th anniversary of the summer of '68. which was tumultuous, and anyone that lived through it, from from what happened from Dr. King to Robert Kennedy to LBJ and Ho Chi Minh and John Carlos and Tommy Smith. It was an amazing time to
John
live through.
Carlos and Tommy Smith, right here from the Bay Area.
Yeah, absolutely, San Jose State.
Matter of fact, I'm not sure if it's Tommy Smith or John Carlos. One of them, his sister used to be my dentist.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
She stopped her practice now, but she was very good too.
HBO recently ran again a documentary that was made in 1999 called Fists of Freedom. Fascinating.
Ah,
And the white guy, the Australian who finished second or third, that was on the stand,
right.
had loaned Carlos his glove, or he went back and got another
wow.
glove, and he was in on it. And then I guess he was treated very poorly when he went back to Australia.
Really?
And he was kind of like the unheralded story. Yeah.
Wow.
Amazing time.
How do you know all this stuff?
I don't know. I read a lot of liner notes. So.
Well, you're on the radio all the time. If people call and ask you a question, you better know the answer.
Biggest gig you ever did with Carlos?
There were quite a few of them, but I can remember when Bill Graham passed,
Yeah.
and we played at Golden Gate Park. There were 350,000 people out there.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
pretty big.
Yeah.
And we've done we've done 12, 13, 25, 30,000 people.
Yeah.
350,000
That's a lot of
people.
That's a lot of people.
It looks like you can just run out there on top of everybody's head and go all the way to the back.
You still stay in touch with him?
The guys in the band,
Yeah.
they're always calling me because they miss me so
Yeah.
much, and I understand why they miss me. I haven't talked to Carlos since he's made the change, but I talked to the guitar player and the drummer and all of them. They call me, not the drummer, because the drummer's his wife. So the timbal player, and because those guys, a lot of them still live here in the Bay Area too.
Did you guys ever remember, I think it was the 80s and 90s when the big thing was doing Unplugged and remember the Rolling Stones did like
We
the
did it.
Fillmore or something? There were these huge groups,
Yeah.
excuse me, in little venues.
We did an Unplugged in New York City.
Really?
And it was interesting because not only was Unplugged, but people can call in and make a request for a Santana song.
Really?
And of course, they gave them a nice long list of tunes that they could, because if somebody calls some crazy tune, because there's so many Santana songs that Carlos doesn't even do anymore.
Yeah.
I do some gigs with a few Santana tribute bands.
Yeah.
There's one here in the Bay Area, and there's one in Germany, and these guys are playing these Santana songs. I'm going, what song is that? They go, I said, we never did any of this kind of stuff. And it's the old traditional Santana stuff, and people come, especially over in Europe. We do gigs in Germany. There are people fly in from Russia and France and all these other places because they have me and Alex Lidgerwood, who's the ex-singer with Santana. Me and him do those gigs together. So they're getting some.
Now,
some
in
real
the
stuff.
tradition of categorizing rock and roll bands, Carlos would be a lead guitar player, right?
Yes.
The best? You like Clapton better or different or Jimmy or Page or what?
Well, those guys now. See, like we were talking about, with everybody having their own handprint.
Yeah.
When you hear all of those guys,
Right.
you know who they are. And Carlos doesn't have a lot of chops.
Yeah.
But that tone and that sound that he has, it's, once he hits it, man, it's like, B.B. King, same thing with it's guys like Eric Clapton. You know that sound for sure.
Did you ever see BB?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I saw him
You
a
know
lot.
what? I got a great story with him
Yeah.
too. You're talking about, they treated him like a king.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you, he wasn't no big head or anything, but he earned that right.
Yeah.
So we're playing over, and I think this might have been is either in Australia, one of them two. We're doing a festival there, and the night before, B.B. King is playing on the same stage we were gonna play the night after. So a few of us went. They take us up on stage. Then BB, they bring this chair up on stage, and they put the chair down. They walk BB up the stairs. He sits down in the chair. These guys are brushing his shoes off. They're straightening his jacket and his tie and everything. He gets up, and we're all standing in line. He came down the line, shook every one of our hands, looked us straight in the eye, and said, "Hi, my name is BB King. Thank you for being here."
My mama says she loves me, but she may be jiving me too.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I mean, you get guys that do that, the hair just
Yeah.
stands up on your arms.
Absolutely.
And then he went out and just tore the place up.
Yeah.
He hits
Well,
one,
it's something
one
about,
note.
again, it doesn't really matter the genre. You get these icons. I mean, to see Willie, I mean, at 82 now, I guess he's feeling better. He's back on tour. He does 280 dates a year, Willie Nelson. And
Really?
Last time I saw him, he was 80 and he did 3 hours.
Wow.
I mean, it's just amazing.
Hey, these guys are Tony. Look at Tony Bennett.
Yeah, amazing.
And I just did this past weekend. Just did a whole weekend with Pete Escovedo with the.
Well,
Latin
we're
Jazz
oddly
Orchestra.
enough, we're closing with Escovedo this
Wow,
year.
he
and,
just turned 83 years old.
Yeah, and he's doing. What is it? You know, he and Tony Bennett have a lot in common. They're both really good artists.
Yes,
Yeah,
extremely.
And
He's got a lot of
does he
stuff
work
going
in
on.
oil? Do you know?
He
or-
probably does it all, man.
Yeah.
But he's got really good. They got a gallery in Oakland with all his stuff in it.
Now, do you have any talent like that?
I can't draw
Can you
anything.
doodle?
Man. No, man. I try to draw a car, and I can kind of get that. But it's something. There's a lot of people that they do that stuff and they make it look like it jumps right off the paint at you. You know, that's
Well,
hard.
people say to me, "You're into jazz, so you can sing." I go, "No, I talk flat."
I wish I could.
Yeah. I wish I had some other ability than just charm.
You know what? Maybe I'll get one of those. Set up an art gallery in my garage.
That's
or
what you
something.
should do.
Just throw
That
paint
just-
against
yeah,
the canvas, and they sell that stuff too. You know.
That's a good point. If you can sell it.
Oh yeah, put some kind of thing on it.
We
throw paint
got
on it.
just a couple of minutes. What do you got coming up? You say you're about to go back in the studio, or is it about?
The studio's
okay.
done. I'm waiting for my mixes now, and
What's the CD called?
it's going to be called Something Beautiful.
Okay, and
I'm happy, but and I'm going to
some standards on it.
no standards,
no
all,
standard.
all original stuff.
Your stuff, okay.
All, and I'm going to submit probably about 4 or 5 songs for Grammy
Good.
consideration. I'm see what happens.
What are you going to do with another Grammy?
I have nothing to lose.
How many Grammys do you have?
I
14?
have 11,
11.
but those are with Santana.
Yeah.
I want one of them with just my name on it.
Well, those plaques can be pried off.
No.
Okay.
No, I want to get it for real. I want it to be on TV where everybody see me.
Yeah, you get because this look is what he wants on TV.
That's right.
Tony Lindsay, always a joy to see you, my friend.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you for coming this year. And it's going to
Absolutely.
be a heck of a show. And I just hope, and I always feel silly saying this, but I just hope you folks were here and would have been here tonight to see Tony. And a big thank you to TaylorMade for supplying us with the chairs. TaylorMade Golf. Oddly enough, I play their driver, and now I sit in their seats. So we're very thankful for that. Also, thank you to the Prune Yard Cinemas, the Cedar Room, and all the good folks there for underwriting and sponsoring Jazz Tonight. Until next week, I'm Jacobi. I'll see you soon.